And that's really the second part of the story,
Okay.
is the barrier systems I've outlined in here. That's a tremendously wet environment.
Are you talking about at the head of the estuary?
I'm talking about the SS treated sediments, okay? You're gonna have, contrary to what STPA says, you're gonna have water coming in through the cap, that, what they call GCL layer in the cap, geosynthetic clay layer. That in time will deteriorate to the point where it's no longer effective in preventing water passing from the surface of the treated sediments into the sediments. The HDPE liners, this is a plastic sheeting walls that they propose to put around the tar pond sediments, that these plastic sheeting in their HDPE will deteriorate over time. We know that. And in time, where you have plastic sheeting walls, which is designed to keep water out coming in from the sides, and then when the water gets in, to trap it so that it doesn't move down into the estuary, so that they could pump and treat it, collect the stuff in the trenches, that would be effective in preventing any leaching that occurs from getting out to the estuary. Well, the basic problem is that, and I do a lot of work on liners. I was a US EPA contractor for liner stability issues back when I was in the university. We look at that and you say, well, SDPA has not even acknowledged that there's going to be a problem there. How are you going to know when those plastic sheeting walls start to deteriorate? They're going to deteriorate, there's no issue. And nobody can predict when, but we do know that there have been situations where they've found they start to deteriorate in a couple of years. That's unusual, but it could occur.
What would your prediction be as time?
We don't know. All you know is that the waste, the treated sediments, are going to be a threat effectively forever. This 25-year MOA project period is a very artificial period, and when STPA staff say you'll be able to the panel, I'm shocked they would say that in 25 years you'll be able to walk away with just minor monitoring. No way. Those sediments with the SS treatment are going to be a threat for very long periods of time, and from planning purposes you better consider it forever. It's just what I call prudent public health and environmental policy. Plan for worst case, and it clearly can occur. And so the second part of this discusses what I call the complex water management system that STPA is trying to develop out there, and it's just fraught with problems of long-term stability. Yeah.
Would you be making recommendations as to a cleanup option, or is it
well, yes. I hate to say this, because in this community nobody wants to start over. But the way I see it, and I don't know what motivated the original selection of SS, but it's pretty clear that a process that was undertaken initially to select it, to get it in as, in the MOA, for example, as one of the primary things that you've got to look at. And the $400 million limitation, I see that, $400 million as ultimately grossly inadequate. If nothing else, in 25 years, Nova Scotia is going to inherit an ungodly mess out there of polluted sediments and a complex water management system where they will have to start monitoring. They'll have to figure out when the various barriers leak and how do they stop it. And so I'll be I probably won't live to see it, but I'll be shocked if somewhere down the road the conclusion is made that we made a mistake in 2006 and now we got to start over. To me, they should start now and say, all right, the only safe way to proceed in this kind of situation is to excavate the sediments, properly treat them, and then manage the residues in such a way as to prevent them from releasing anything to the environment.
There's been concerns expressed that excavating would
Pardon?
There's been concerns expressed that excavating them would allow them to be more
well, no question, there will be.
Yeah.
But
They can,
if I may,
sure,
comment on the latest changes and iteration of their plan. They no longer plan on using the augers to drill holes. What they plan on doing is using an excavator to dewater it and then to stabilize it. So any concerns that you may have about the risks will apply more so to the plan that's on the table, and now and Fred can carry on and explain how those risks can be mitigated.
what you need to do in this, because there's gonna be airborne releases when you start storing this stuff, no question. And what you will need to do, because of the proximity of all the homes and people around here, and the fact that at times you don't mix the air very well here, you get kind of an inversion situation, that you want to be certain that you do the work under conditions of a dome. Actually, I mean, there are large domes available. We've gotten into this in the United States in terms of landfill mining. You go into an old landfill, and if you start stirring up an old landfill, you get all kinds of odors. So what you need to do is to put that mining operation under a dome, collect the air and treat it, and then carefully monitor. I mean, their sheet piling and approaches around their excavation area, if it's laid in properly, can be pretty effective in controlling releases. I'm concerned about the so-called silt curtains. I've done a lot of work on dredging issues, and a silt curtain is not very effective in controlling turbidity or suspended solids from moving out, because what it does is it comes up and moves onto the curtain.
Okay.
But you can, and we've learned this from our dredging of what we call hotspots in the U.S. waterways. We can control that in such a way as to, and I guess somebody said we shouldn't talk about dredging up here, but basically excavation or dredging is removal of the sediments under careful conditions, so that you don't suspend them in the air or give an opportunity for water in contact with them to move off. You have to trap it and move and control it.